crafty peeps, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a layout for the Cocoa Vanilla design team, and I don't know what it is about me, but I think rainbow is my default setting, you guys, because whenever I don't know what to do, like whenever I have a project or an assignment and I'm staring at my box of supplies and I have no idea what to do, you know what I go for? I go for a rainbow. And so I was sitting down trying to figure out what I wanted to do for this project. And I have, this giant box of stuff, and I had no idea what to do. And I looked at the Happiness collection, and I remembered there was a rainbow paper in the Happiness collection. And that is literally what inspired this entire layout. So I went through all the papers that I had from Happiness. I cut out a variety of strips of paper, some from that original rainbow paper that inspired this layout, and some from papers that just were the matching colors. And then I pulled out my tonic embellishment mousses, my Nouveau embellishment mousses, and this star stencil. And I know what you're thinking, you guys. You're probably like, Tashiana, couldn't you have gotten the same effect from using distress oxides? Why would you use a mousse instead? And the answer is no. You can't get the same effects because the tonic embellishment mousses have mica in them. And so they're shiny and they're shimmery. And when they catch the light, they are just stunning. And also, because they're a mousse and not an ink, you get a completely different blending texture from them than you would have if you just blended distress oxide. So I'll tell you the colors I used. The pink one is pink flambe. The orange one is orange blush. I blended that into lemon sorbet, which I then blended into citrus green, and then aloe vera, and then Pacific teal. And I had a little bit of issues with the Pacific teal because it reads a lot more green than blue. In the pot, it looks very blue, but when it's blended in, like you'll see, so in the pot, it looks very blue, but when it's blended in, it reads really green. So I just went over it with a little bit of cornflower blue just to make it a bit more blue and less green. And you'll see that that easily kind of mutes out some of the green tones and gives me a blue. And so I have my rainbow stencil with my stars. I'm so sorry I don't know where this stencil is from. It is a 9x12 stencil. I keep all my stencils in a binder, so I have no idea where any of my stencils are from. But you guys, look at how pretty that is. And eventually I hold it up so you can see it. Like, look at how it catches the light. It is so shimmery and it is so shiny. And the terrible thing I do is cover it all up. I talk about this with mixed media all the time, that you always have to do more than you think you need, because if you embellish the way I do, then by the time you're done with it, it's all missing anyway. And I went with a 9-inch wide stencil, and then I still managed to cover up like 80% of this lovely star background. So I hope you guys appreciate it now, because by the time the layout's done, you barely see any of it. You see a peek of it, which is enough for me, but a lot of it is missing. So I hit this with my heat tool. Probably should have edited this out so you're not literally watching paint dry. But on the bright side, this dries really fast. These mousses are water-based, so they dry almost instantly, and because they're not like a texture paste, they're not thick. So when you put them through a stencil, I like to use a blending brush for them. I've used a spatula. A spatula gives you a thicker, more raised effect, but if you want to get like a really smooth blend, I recommend these blending brushes. These are just some knockoff blending brushes that I got on Amazon. They're like a knockoff of the picket fence ones and all the like high-end blending brushes, but I got a cheaper set on Amazon. I'll link the set I have, but they work like a treat. It comes with a set of 4 in a variety of sizes. And you see, I don't treat my brushes very well. Like, I didn't wash them between colors. I literally had a paper towel next to me and just dabbed off the extra mousse and went back to work. Which is very much my MO. I am kind of a messy crafter, but I get my pages done and I make stuff I love. So I think that's all that counts. So what I did was I went in and I did something that is classic Tashi. I ripped up all the edges of my paper. I went in with each paper and just ripped off a torn edge, and then I stacked them. So now you can see how much of those glittery stars disappear. So you see them on peaks of the peaks of the outside paper, and that's it. So I ripped my papers up, and then I grabbed some score tape, and then I sticked them down with some score tape. And two reasons I'm using score tape. Number one, my ATG is empty, and I am too lazy to refill it. That is just the reality of the situation. I do not want to watch the 2 YouTube videos it takes me to refill it. I love my ATG. It is a chore. Number two, I was not sure how these embellishment mousses would behave. As far like sometimes with mixed media, regular tapes don't stick, and I didn't know if these were gonna have enough texture to them that tape wouldn't stick to them. I'm touching them right now, and they feel really smooth and not raised at all. So I probably could have used any tape, but I know score tape is really sticky and it holds up really well, which is why I went with that. Now, off camera, I tortured myself for your amusement. It took me 45 minutes to do the stitching that you see here. I stitched through every other paper layer with some black thread, and then I stitched a really, really messy border. And I left the threads long on purpose because I just like the look of messy threads. I like the way it looks when messy threads hang out of your layout. But I will tell you that the 6 straight lines and the wonky border took me 45 minutes. I hate my sewing machine, and I think my sewing machine knows I hate it, and it hates me in return. So like my thread kept snapping. I kept Googling like appropriate paper tension. It would stitch one line, and then halfway through a second line, just decided it didn't want to do it anymore. It was an ordeal. But I love the way it looks on this layout. I love how the messiness of the stitching adds another layer of texture with all these the stars and everything else. It all just feels very like messy and organic, which is very much my scrapbooking style. If it's not like, I'm not a neat maker. I've never been a neat maker. I like the texture. I like dimension. I like things that don't look quite right. And I gotta tell you, my stitching definitely doesn't look quite right. And then on the lines that are broken, instead of tucking in that thread, I left it on top. Like, I just like the way it looks. I gotta try to figure out how Missy Whitten does that thing where she mixes like thread behind her paper layers, because I love that, and I just don't really know how to do it. So that's something else I'm gonna experiment with. So now I pulled out what I have left from the Happiness collection, and it is one of the older Cocoa Vanilla lines, so mine is well loved. I'm down to the final bits and pieces, and I'm trying to work on building embellishment clusters. So I have that metal piece that says the best, and I keep moving it because I'm trying to make sure it doesn't cover. I probably should tell you, I'm scrapping a photo of Joshua and I. If you couldn't tell by the picture, I'm scrapping a photo of Joshua and I. This photo actually got documented in my December daily. It's a photo of us at the movies, but I loved it so much that I decided it needed its own 12 by 12 layout. I have an album for Joshua and I of just pictures of us on like date nights. So this is going in my date night album. And so it's printed black and white because I took it in the movies and it was really grainy and really dark. And two, there is so much color on this page that it just wouldn't even make sense to print a picture in color and to add to the color that is on this background. So I kept it nice and easy, printed the photo black and white. So what I was saying is that metal piece, I like fuss with it a lot because I have to make sure that it's not covering Joshua's face, but I do want it to hang on the top of that corner. So I finally found a place to put it. I add that big floral cluster behind it. I add a sticker that I hit with my powder tool. I use my powder tool a lot on this layout because since I'm running out of embellishments, my favorite thing to do when I'm running out of embellishments is to use stickers as embellishments. And I have commitment issues. So I prefer to take the stickiness off of my stickers first before I stick it down on the page, because then I can move it around and use it like a die cut as opposed to it being a sticker. So I have some butterflies that I took the stickiness off of. I layered that die cut that says loving every second over a flower. I add a ticket behind it and a ticket that says happiness in the front of it. And then I put that on the bottom right of the photo, kind of in front of where I am. So now I have a cluster on the front of the layout of the bottom right corner and the top left corner. And so now I'm trying to figure out where I want to put my photo. And I move it around a little bit and I faff around a little bit with it. And then I realized that there's like that empty space on the left side was really driving me crazy, especially since the best medallion hangs into it. It just felt missing. So I grabbed that picture frame that I tried to use in the beginning and I hacked it to pieces. And I do this all the time with picture frames. If I'm putting it behind a photo, I see no reason to have it just be lost behind the picture. So I cut it, and then now I have half that die cut that I can use on a future layout. So I'm grabbing a bit of flare. I use a flare button that says good vibes. And I put another bit of foam behind it just to give it some extra height, because who doesn't love a little bit of dimension? And then I add another die cut to that left side, and now it finally feels complete. It really felt like something was missing until I filled up that entire left side of the photo. That could just be me, but these are the stories I tell myself as I'm making things. So I add another cardstock sticker that says "so much fun." I have one on top that says "happy little moments." And now that I'm looking at this layout, I only have 2 and not 3. So I have managed to trick myself into breaking my rule where I always have 3 of something on a layout. So I guess it is possible to do it if I'm not thinking about it too hard. So now I pull out the pack of cardstock titles, and I decide to title my layout "Hello Happy," just a really generic title. I didn't want to come up with something super long and clever to just document this selfie of Joshua and I. And then I add that pink banner that says "one of a kind" underneath my title. And then I remember that I have the clear stickers, and I almost never use the clear stickers because I struggle with them. I don't really know how to use them. And so they're not something I really go to very often because I don't know how to use them. But with this background that is so messy already, I decided to treat them like paint splatter. So if you were going to take a Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine, which has been discontinued and makes me very sad. But if you were going to take that, or if you're going to take a black paint or a white paint and just splatter it on your background, that's how I decided to treat these clear stickers. So I added a bunch of those dark hash marks, or the darker ones that look like arrows, all over my page. And then I realized that there are paint swatches in these clear stickers, and the paint swatches match my layout almost perfectly. So then I just go I go bananas, and I just start adding paint swatches literally everywhere. Sometimes they're tone on tone. So I add a big orange one next to the orange stripe, and I add a pink one next to the pink stripe, and that blue one you see I'm adding next to the blue stripe. And some of them I just kind of put wherever I feel like I just look at wherever there isn't a clear sticker, but it just adds I just think it adds another level of interest to the background, because my photo cluster is done. I'm not adding anything else to my photo cluster, so all I'm doing is jazzing up my background. And you guys, that's about it for this layout. I literally just go ahead and add a few more clear stickers, and then I find some butterflies, and I think it'd be cool to add some butterflies. So I add some butterflies to my layout and call it done. This was really the longest part of this entire page, was fighting with my sewing machine. Even with the stenciling and the paper strips and everything, this page came together really quickly, and I had so much fun making it. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this layout. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you are so inclined, and let me know if rainbow is your favorite color the way it is mine in the comments. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you around, you guys. Till next time, keep it crafty and have the very best day. Bye!